100 days ago, I decided to take the first step in a journey that would change my life forever. After a lot of pent-up frustration and struggle, I meditated every single day, and what I ended up experiencing has been the most amazing gift of my life, and it's something I want to share with you all today. Hey everyone, my name is Joe, and I'll be talking about my first 100 days of meditation. Technically, I'm at around 112 at the time of this recording, but I figured I'd just round off somewhere more satisfying. Specifically, I'll be talking about why I even started doing this with my general background, what I experienced, what I learned, what exactly helped me along the way, and what my goals are moving forward. At the end of this video, I'm going to be including 2 tips, that things I wish I knew going in. These are things that have helped me so much. So if you're starting meditation or in the middle of meditation, I think these things will help you a lot. So if you're interested in that, please stick around to the end. So why did I even do this? Why did I even go at this for 100 days? For me, I started off as a pretty shy kid. I grew up with a lot of self-confidence and self-esteem issues. And more importantly, I suffered a lot of anxiety, specifically social anxiety. It was something that I struggled a lot with, more specifically during high school. And getting into the practice seriously really motivated me to keep going. In many situations, I overthought basically everything, no matter how insignificant or trivial things were. And overall, I deprived myself of a lot of happiness that I otherwise could have had when I was younger. It was actually last summer when I started meditation for the very first time. I kept the habit up, I did it every single day, and it's something that helped me a lot. It gave me a lot of peeks of what was to come in the future, more specifically meaning these 100 days when I got more serious about things, but it helped me back then. Unfortunately, as the summer came to an end, I lost focus of that and I didn't really prioritize it as much. I let it slide into the background of things. I did it every single day, but it wasn't something that I was very focused on and trying to get better as my practice. Unfortunately, as I lost focus of meditation, I went into my sophomore year of college and I didn't really prioritize as much, like I said, and as a result, my mental health fell. I was very stressed from how things were going and I was dealing with a lot of life troubles. A lot of things compiled up and up and up and I just felt terrible. There came a point where I was even contemplating suicide. It was so bad and I realized that I needed a lot of help from all that and the frustration. It was a very tough time and I knew I needed to reach back out to meditation to get more serious about it and hopefully for it to help me. With all this going on, I said screw this. I downloaded Headspace and I just went at it every single day again. This is my first experience with guided meditations and it was similar to last time, still mindfulness meditation, keeping my attention rested on the breath, and every time my mind wandered, I would bring things back. This has helped me a lot and it's something that I've kept doing up to this very day. So 100 days later, what actually changed? Well, for one, I would say that my life is so much happier now. Of all the things that we learn along the way, all the things that we're taught, the end goal is always to have a more happy and more meaningful life, and I can confidently say that it's happened. I'm able to deal with my anxiety so much more. Overthinking is not really as much of a problem anymore because I just know not to do that. I catch those thought loops. Being in the present moment more often allows me to appreciate all the little things and just be happy and grateful for what I have and where I'm at. The foundation of this is gaining a greater insight into who you actually are and why you do things the way you do. For me, I realize that a lot of my feelings, my negative emotions, they're all deeply rooted with fear. Realizing that I'm afraid of something, having that awareness just makes it all that much less scary and just able to feel more confident in how you react to things. Another thing that changed for me was my confidence. Like I said before, I struggled with that, and something that helped me along the way that I'm going to get into later in the video was the idea of intention. The most common application of this is when you're actually meditating, when you're intending to have your focus pinned to the breath, and every time your mind wanders, you bring it back. That small scale version of intention is something you repeat over and over and over and over again. As I've continued to do this, it allows me to feel much more grounded and more trust in myself, in that I'm able to remind myself who I am, what I stand for. I'm always able to remind myself because I built the habit of having that intention, and that's not something I had before, so I was never reminding myself who I was. So as that has continued and as I've built that skill, I just feel more trust in myself and I feel less of a reason to feel bad about myself because I know who I am and what I stand for. Another thing that helped me with my confidence was becoming aware of my feelings of judgment. This was the most difficult thing for me to overcome, but as I slowly did, I was able to replace those feelings of frustration and judgment towards myself with more compassion and just more self-love. Another helpful thing for me was improving my focus and concentration. This is something I particularly struggled with in school and probably just listening to people in general. Like learning a new skill has been hard for me because I will drift off sometimes and just wander. And that's what meditation helps you with, keeping your mind focused on the breath. It allows you to translate that into everyday life and then say you're listening to someone in a conversation, and instead of wandering off thinking about something else, you can keep your focus on what they're saying and actually listen and be engaged in the conversation. So overall, my concentration has definitely gotten a lot better. Of all the things I've learned along the way, there are definitely things that stood out the most to me. The most important thing for me probably has been the idea of labeling things as positive or negative thoughts. In the past, I've created a lot of resistance in our mind, and this is something that we all do to an extent, that a thought is negative or positive. And positive, say we relish in that, but if it's negative, it's something that we resist and that we don't want. And that's the important thing. Coming at certain thoughts from the idea or stance that I don't want this, it creates so much resistance in our mind and just needless suffering. Granted, this is the part of meditation that is hard to wrap your mind around and just understand so you can actually apply it. But knowing that there are no bad or good thoughts and that they're just thoughts that pass by, it creates so much more peace, and it eliminates so much fighting and suffering that doesn't need to be there. Specifically for my case and people who deal with the same issue, we're trying to change our relationship with anxiety. We're not trying to get rid of it at all. I mentioned this before, but when we gain a greater insight of ourselves, we're able to see with our anxiety, why does it come up? Where does it originate from? And what habits trigger it? When we know all this, over time and slowly but surely, we're able to make adjustments so that we're able to live with it in a calm manner. I said this before, but intention was such an incredibly important lesson that I learned along the way. Keeping that focus on the breath and intending to do that every single time, like I said, it increased my confidence, and it helped me along the way of keeping a diligent practice short term, whether it be, for me, an example where I'm at right now. I want to keep my intention on the breath, and I have a goal of keeping that. Every time my mind wanders, I want to bring it back. And then for things like long-term goals, I intend to keep meditating so I can have a more focused mind, or a more confident mind, or a happier life. Whatever it is, the idea of intention is so utterly important because it reminds you why you're doing what you're doing. And it's important to know that not just for meditation, it's for your entire life. All your goals, everything, you always have to have intention and the reasons to do things. When doing this for 100 days, there is just so much to process. You're learning so much information, whether it be from YouTube videos or just going on forums or just having more insight about yourself from your sessions, and I had a lot. So one of the most important things for me was my journal. This right here, I've had it for about 1.5 years. It started in the beginning of college, and I started using it a lot more as I've done my practice. Every time I had an insight, I would write it down more. Every time I had a revelation, anything like that, everything I learned online, anything that I wanted to know and remember for the future, and I know I forget, I would put it in here. I was actually flipping through it the other day, and it's amazing to see just how much you can progress with meditation and know and be proud of yourself that now you're able to deal with situations that you weren't able to. Another incredibly important piece that was part of my journey was this book right here. This is The Mind Illuminated by John Yates, and I cannot understate to you just how much this has helped me. I started reading this off a PDF online and following along with my Audible trial, but yeah, I just got this off Amazon, and this has helped me so much. John, he outlines the journey in stages of how you're going to go through meditation, and more importantly, he gives you a better understanding of the mind through how attention and awareness works. I'm not even that much far into it, but what I've learned so far has helped me so much, and it's given me so much hope for my future in doing this. Another incredibly important thing for me that has been with me since I started meditating in May of 2019 has been online research. I started going on Reddit, and that's how I discovered meditation, and learning from that, those subreddits or other YouTube videos or talking to people in Discord communities, being able to have that outreach to other people helps you feel less alone and just able to have that ability to reach out to people and learn and grow together. I want to make it clear that while I've done this for 100 days, and that is a very long time, and I'm proud of myself for making it this long, this is really only the beginning. My mind still wanders, I still engage in habits, and I'm not mindful of that. You know, I still do things that I've done in the past, and I still have much more work to do. So moving forward, I'm looking to move through the stages outlined in The Mind Illuminated, like I just mentioned before. And just as importantly, I have to realize that I've been in quarantine most of the time, in my comfort zone, with my family, and not like in public or in any social situations aside from want to hang out with my friends. That's it. I want to continue to apply these principles and things that I've learned and all the mindfulness, everything in those situations, no matter where I am, whether it's in my comfort zone or not. That's something I'm going to keep working at. And that's my journey so far. If I can go back and talk to myself when I was getting started with this, I would say there are two vital pieces of information that are so important to meditating. For one, figure out and know and constantly remind yourself why you are doing this. Knowing your motivation and why you're doing this is so important to keeping a habit going in the long term. You might have all this motivation in the beginning, but when you forget that, you have that no foundation to keep going, and then you lose it. And it's so important to have that with meditation because we've never done this before. We don't often go sit out and do nothing for 5 to 10 minutes. Nobody does that. So you have to know why you're doing this and why you're keeping at this each and every day. Every time I started my session, I would always remind myself, plant the seed in my brain, why I'm doing this. That motivation made me feel so much more full and just sure of myself and confident in my ability to keep going, and made me feel better about doing it because I know that at some point I'm gonna get to where I want to be. Number two, I would say remember to love the process and be patient. It's easy to get wrapped up in the idea that we're trying to achieve something in meditation. We're trying to achieve some awakening or something like that. I don't even know what that means, honestly. Still, you want to be in a mindset where you're loving the process each and every day. There are going to be days when you're less mindful. Oh, I can't focus on the breath. There are going to be days when you're less focused, and there's just going to be days when you're in a bad mood. Don't let that take you down. Just be patient, and the only thing that matters is that if you're diligent and you keep at the practice every single day, and you care about it, and you remember your intention as to why you're doing it, you're gonna get to where you wanna be. That's all I got for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope maybe I inspired you to start meditating if you've never done before. If you want to keep up with my journey, I'm going to be making more videos on this topic in the future, whether it be with the book or more updates on how things are going and what changes along the way. Be sure to subscribe, tap the notification bell, and especially if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to stay in touch or just have any questions about meditation or anything in general, my Discord link is in the description box below, and my socials are in there as well. Take care, everyone, and remember to stay mindful.